Hi everyone, welcome into another episode of Matt Sports Talk, and we are going to be recapping the final two Sweet 16 games in this video. And this, of course, I recapped the first two Sweet 16 games last night, and we'll recap the final two Sweet 16 games in this video. And then just to give you, of course I mentioned this in my video yesterday, but to give you an update on what to expect over these last 3 days of the national tournament. Tomorrow I will be recapping all the Elite Eight games from tonight, at least for those Crossroads League schools that are in the Elite Eight, and I also will be giving you an updated view of my bracket tomorrow as well after all the Elite Eight games are completed. And then on Tuesday, if there are any Crossroads League schools that make it to the Final Four, I'll be recapping a video, or recording a video recapping that. If that is not the case, then whenever each Crossroads League school remaining is no longer in the hunt, if that happens, then I'll just be recording videos going over my updated bracket, which, of course, that'll be tomorrow as well as Tuesday, and then on Wednesday after the national championship game is played on Tuesday night. So that's kind of a breakdown, so to speak, of what to expect over the next few days, or last few days, I should say, of this national tournament. So again, super excited to share that content with you. And of course, we have 3 Crossroads League schools remaining in the national tournament hunt, and we'll definitely see if any of them remain in the hunt for that red banner over the next few days. So again, super excited for that. And of course, I mentioned yesterday my plan, or really my estimated schedule, so to speak, of season 3 of Matt Sports Talk, which will be coming your way starting in September. And again, if you missed that information, you can go back and watch that video that I recorded yesterday. I saved it under season 2 Matt Sports Talk 2025/26 season. If you click on that playlist, scroll all the way down to the most recent video, of course outside of the one that I'm recording right now, then you'll see that video there, and you can catch up in case you missed the news, the good news, good news in terms of what I have planned to kick off season 3 of Matt Sports Talk. So if you missed that important announcement, so to speak, you can watch the video I recorded yesterday when I talked more about that in more specific detail. And of course, if you just click on my channel and click on videos for most recent, you can see that video there as well. You don't necessarily have to click on the playlist season 2 Matt Sports Talk 2025/26 season. If you want to, you can find that video there as well. So there are a couple of avenues to find yesterday's video. So recapping the first matchup yesterday, we have the 12-seeded Shawnee State Bears against the against 1-seeded Marion, and it was Marion. Really no surprise here. And Shawnee State, of course, they had a Cinderella run as a 12 seed. That came to an end. Marion, of course, way too good, and Marion goes to the Elite Eight. At least I consider it the Elite Eight. I know, some people consider this the Final 8. But, I think of the NCAA national tournament, words, or not really words, but I just think of what they allude to the Final 8 teams in the NCAA tournament as, and that's the Elite Eight. So at least I consider the NAIA national tournament to be the same with the Elite Eight. And if you are a Shawnee State fan, which I know there were quite a few of you out there, maybe you're watching this video as a Shawnee State fan, you might be wondering, okay, well, how did my team do last night despite the tough loss? Well, that's what I'm here to share with you. And in terms of your starters for Shawnee State, you had Lakin Williams only with 2 points, and that was both at the free throw line, though. 3 rebounds, 2 assists as well. You got 13 points for Mayashi Ellis, 13 points, 6 of 16 shooting, 1 of 2 from deep, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 steals. 8 points for Rakaya Prince, 3 of 11 shooting, 2 of 8 from deep, 2 assists, and 1 steal. 7 points for Jariah Steele. Also struggled shooting at 2 of 10, but she was 3 of 3 at the charity stripe with 1 rebound and 1 steal. And then you had leading the way 22 points for Kyra Torak, 10 of 12 shooting, 2 of 4 at the line, 5 rebounds and a block for her. And then off the bench, you had 3 points for Emily Maynard, 1 of 4 shooting, 1 of 3 from deep with a rebound, a steal, and a block. And then you had Giovanni Belton in 12 minutes of action, did not score, but she had 1 rebound. And then in 3 minutes of action, I'm going to see, and again, I'm going to see if I can pronounce this name, and if I don't pronounce it correctly, I apologize. 3 minutes of action, you had Onyenyechi Sanders, got some playing time in 3 minutes of action, did not score. 5 minutes of action, you had Jaden Tucker with 1 assist. 1 minute of action, Saratina Jackson did not score either. You had Savannah Cantrell, 14 minutes of action, did not score, but she had 6 rebounds, 1 assist. And then 4 minutes of action, 2 points for Lily Mae Walker, 1 of 5 shooting with a rebound. And then Mackenzie Daubenmeier, 3 minutes of action, did not score. And the Bears really struggled with turnovers, committing 24 compared to only 15 for the Lady Knights. Shawnee State struggled shooting at 36 and really struggled from 3 at 26. And they were decent at the free throw line, converting 7 out of 11 for 63. And looking at the stats for Marion, boy, Marion just lit up the stat sheet all the way around. 22 points for Abby McNally, really no surprise here. 7 of 14 shooting, 8 of 11 at the line, 11 rebounds, so another double-double. She had 2 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks to go along with all of that. 15 points for her sister Kylie, 5 of 7 shooting, 5 of 6 at the charity stripe, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Again, really, really good balanced numbers there. And then 9 points from Madison Bailey, 4 of 5 shooting, 1 of 1 from deep. She had 1 rebound, 2 assists, and a steal. 10 points for Taylor Double, 4 of 5 shooting, 2 of 3 from beyond the arc, 1 rebound, 3 assists as well. And then 15 points for Kenna Kirby, 6 of 10 shooting, 1 of 3 from deep, 2 of 2 at the line, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals to go along with that. Then off the bench, Aubrey Frank with 12 points and was a perfect 5 of 5 from the field, a perfect 2 of 2 from beyond the arc. She also had 1 rebound, 1 assist, and 1 steal to go along with that. And then you had 6 points for Kennedy Coleman, 2 of 4 shooting, 1 of 1 from deep, 1 of 2 at the line, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and a steal. 2 points for Emma Simpson, 1 of 1 shooting with a rebound and an assist, a steal plus a block. Only 1 point for Violet Shuluga in 11 minutes of action, which was at charity stripe. She had 3 rebounds and 2 assists. 5 points for Olivia Faust off the bench, 2 of 6 shooting, 1 of 3 from deep. She had 4 rebounds and 1 assist. And then Zoe Wheeler, 5 minutes of action, did not score, but she had a rebound. And then Emily Grimm in 5 minutes of action with 4 points, 1 of 1 shooting, 2 of 2 at the line with a steal. And Marion shot red hot from the field at a blistering 60%. And also they were red hot from 3 as well, 57%. And then they were way better at the free throw line, converting 19 out of 25 for 76%. And that was your matchup there. Our final Sweet 16 matchup in part 2, so to speak, because part 1, my video from yesterday, that was part 1 with the first 2 Sweet 16 round matchups. This is the second part. And the last Sweet 16 matchup, you had 6-seeded Spring Arbor out of Michigan versus 2-seeded Campbellsville out of Kentucky. And this game, it lived up to the expectation. A very, very close game. I know some people had Spring Arbor. I had Campbellsville. Campbellsville, though, prevailing here. And the big difference was the fourth quarter, outscoring the Cougars 18-6. So that obviously that made all the difference there. And then looking at stats for Spring Arbor, you had 17 points for Ashley Weller, 4 of 10 shooting, 1 of 4 from deep, 8 of 10 at the charity stripe. She had 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, and a block, though, to go along with all of that. 8 points for Emma Smyska, 3 of 7 shooting, 2 of 5 at the line, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. You had only 3 points for Haben Chapman, who struggled shooting at 1 of 5, but she was 1 of 1 at the charity stripe. She also had 6 rebounds, 1 assist, and a steal. 5 points for Elena Kolesa, struggled shooting at 2 of 6, but she had 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and a block, though. And then 11 points for Megan Zeitz, 3 of 5 shooting, 1 of 1 from deep, 4 of 5 at the line, 4 rebounds, 3 assists for her. And then off the bench, you had Lexi Linder, did not score. You had 7 points for Madison Socini, 3 of 9 shooting, 1 of 1 at the line, 1 rebound, and 1 steal. 6 points for Rylan Goodwin, 2 of 3 shooting, 1 of 2 from deep, 1 of 2 at the line, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist. You had 8 points for Aubrey Crockett, 3 of 4 shooting, 2 of 2 from deep. She also had 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, and 1 blocks. Really, really good balanced numbers there. And then Kylie Summer got some playing time in the last minute of the game, no statistics. Spring Arbor, they didn't shoot the ball bad from the field at 42. Were okay from 3 at 35, and they struggled at the free throw line, but still not too terribly bad. 18 out of 26 for 69. And then looking at the stats for Campbellsville, boy, Campbellsville just lit up the stat sheet all the way around. And of course, if you're a Lady Tiger fan, you might be wondering, well, how well did my team do with the 10-point win last night? Well, that's why I'm here to tell you how well your team did. And they did really well. Leading the way was Whitney Hay, 30 points, 14 rebounds, so a double-double for her. 13 of 23 shooting, 1-1 from deep, 3 of 7 at the line. She also had 3 assists and a block. 15 points for Dia Bradley, who struggled shooting at 5 of 13, and she really struggled at the free throw line, shooting just 5 out of 14. 1 rebound, 2 assists, 2 steals, though on defense, so that obviously was a lot better. And then you had 8 points for Lainey Johnson, 1 of 4 shooting, 1 of 3 from deep. A perfect 5 of 5 of a charity stripe. She had 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and a steal. And then you had 16 points for Hallie Allen, 5 of 6 shooting, which was all from beyond the arc. 1 of 2 at the line. She had 2 assists and 2 steals plus a block. And 4 points for Tyra Flowers, 1 of 4 shooting, 2 of 4 at the line, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks. Really, really good balanced numbers there. And then off the bench in 2 minutes of action, you had Kinsley Molden with 2 points, 13 minutes of action, I stand corrected. 13 minutes of action for Molden, 2 points, 1 of 2 shooting. She also had a steal. You had Bella Stiles, 8 minutes of action, did not score. 7 minutes of action, you had Katie Smiley, did not score either, but she had 2 rebounds and an assist. And then Paige Serafini, 12 minutes of action, did not score, but she had 3 rebounds and 1 assist. And then 2 minutes of action, Abby Gilbert did not score either, but she did have 1 rebound though. And Campbellsville was red hot shooting from the field at 47, excellent from 3 at 53. Now the one downside was they really, really struggled at the free throw line, converting just 16 out of 32 for 50%. So that, boy, that obviously kind of checks out. And then you look at the team stats. They forced Spring Arbor into 19 turnovers, converted only 12 points off of that. Spring Arbor forced Campbellsville into 12 turnovers and only scored 6 points off of that. So that obviously, pretty much tells you all you need to know there. And then second chance points was 11-5 in favor of Spring Arbor. Points in the paint pretty even, 26-26. And then fast break points 4-0 in favor of Campbellsville. Bench points 21-2 in favor of Spring Arbor. Spring Arbor had their largest lead of 6. That was with 50 seconds to go in the third quarter. Campbellsville had their largest lead with 5 minutes and 40 seconds left in the game. And these two teams had 7 ties and 7 lead changes. And Spring Arbor did out-rebound by 1. Assists were pretty even at 13 apiece. And that was your match up there. So Spring Arbor ends their year at 24-8. And then Huntington obviously ended their year 19-12. Lady Wildcats of Indiana Wesleyan ended their year 19-14. Taylor ended their year 17-13. And for St. Francis, they played Dort later this afternoon. They are 30-4 going into that game. Marion advances to play Campbellsville in the Elite 8 round coming up later tonight. Marion going into that game 32-2. And that is an updated view of all the standings. So, in my next video, we are going to dive in to my updated bracket. Just how well did I do in the Sweet 16 round. All that good stuff. That is coming your way momentarily. So if you did enjoy this video or find it very helpful and or informative, please make sure that you either like, comment, or subscribe. Anyone else options helps me out greatly. I truly appreciate any feedback that you may provide me. And for those of you that are already subscribed to my channel, thank you so much for doing so. I really appreciate that. And for those of you that are not subscribed, please do so down below so you do not miss out on any of this important information. Again, I truly appreciate all of you that have watched these videos all season long. Can't wait for these last few days of the national tournament and to officially wrap up Season 2 of Matt's Sports Talk either next Thursday or Friday. Thanks so much for tuning into this video, and I'll see you momentarily for my next video going over my updated bracket. God bless.